What's up, YouTube? Hope you guys been out there building shit, believing what God gave you, taking on new projects, building, fixing, creating, doing some art, whatever it might be, guys. Find your blessings, find your skill sets, pass them on to this world. Like hearing that kind of message? Hit like and subscribe. So today we're gonna be working on my '96 Country Coach and fixing the door latch. So let's go check it out. So this is our door latch, and as you see, it's super loose, right? And when you go to shut it, when that goes in, that it allows that to drop, right? So when you're shutting it from the outside, that drops, and then it doesn't want to latch because the springs and everything are hella weak. When you're shutting it from the inside, you're using this, and so you're putting additional strain and whatnot on it. The best method that we found was a little string connected to the deadbolt, and just give it a and it'll latch. But it's time to upgrade this thing. It's driving me bonkers, you know, listening to it get banged by people, me struggling with it, me bending on it, trying to get it to latch right, etc. So it's time to tear this thing out, and I'll show you guys the outside real quick too before I remove it. Taken out, but it's bigger than the one that I found to replace it. So I'll show you guys the replacement that they said is the more modern one or whatever that replaces this. But hopefully our hole is not too big that it goes in and whatnot, and we end up in more of a mess than we started with, but we'll see. So this is the one that they said to replace it with at one of my local RV dealerships, and I'm going to show you guys our measurements on this so that if you guys got the same one, then you guys can replace it. And the other issue that we were having is when you go to shut this, check this out, when you go to shut this, oh, it's not doing it this time. Oh yeah, there you go. So when you go to shut it, that outside one goes like that because the springs and everything are so weak in this, and it's so worn out. So by the time you get it shut, that is out a little bit and it doesn't even latch. So all right, I'll grab my tape measure and show you guys the measurements. So the inside came off with just those two screws, and already you can see part of those two screws right there came out of these two holes, which now released the whole mechanism to come out this side. So I'm going to use both hands and I'm going to get that pulled out. So I was wrong on that releasing out. You got to pull these little pin deals too, because their heads are a little bit too big for the hole. So now it should release. So on the new Bauer lock that I bought, it says not to remove those pins, that it's a federal motor safety deal, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, that's why I assumed those pins were fixed in this one, but they're not. So therefore, yeah, don't remove them from your new lock, guys. So to get those bigger tips, which we're not allowed to remove out of this one, through the holes here in the door, I'm going to use a step bit and drill it out real quick. Mine really hung up on this corner, but I pushed it that way as most as I could, and I seen that all this is lined up, so I figured we're a go after I drilled out those holes to let's look on here. Looks like 9/16 I had to go to get those through. I thought a 1/2 inch was gonna, but they just wouldn't quite push through, so I had to go to the 9/16. But yeah, then you see that little metal thing there? It was really catching this corner, so I whacked it with the palm of my hand, just kind of whack, and I got it in. So now time to go to the, push this in and go to the inside, check it out. So now we come to the inside, and got the little door handle. So you got to get this situated the right direction over that, slide it together, and then start putting the 4 screws in. So I'm going to get that done. So the handle would not clear this little plastic piece on our screen, and that was just a little end enclosure for this, which slid. But we're just gonna find another piece of plexiglass, and we'll just leave it open, you know, all the time, except for if the door is open, then we'll just slide that piece over, and it gets rid of this ugly old yellow plastic anyways. Alrighty guys, so we got this screwed on. It's fitting, you know, nicely. A little bit of gappage, you know. I didn't cut out for the deadbolt, so I've got to cut out for that. I'll probably use my Dremel or whatever. I'll have to take all that back apart though, but so I'm not worried about that right now. So what I am worried about is making this shut. And as you see, our strikers are hitting. You can already see that they modified this thing before to make things work and whatever. So looks like I'm gonna have to get out the grinder and do it myself too. So that's the next step. So for me to get those pop loose, I use a big sledgehammer and a little impact driver, screwdriver. These things are pretty cool. You hit it in the back and it just twists it just a little bit, but that's also giving it inward force to where on like strip screws and stuff, or you know, ones that are starting to strip, it both gives inward force and a little bit of rotation at a time to just get them started and get them loosened for you. Alright YouTube, so had to bust out the big guns and take out some of the bigger chunks I needed. I used the Sharpie, shut the door, got it marked, and so I got those 2 spots ground down nicely. Tried test fitting. We'll do it again. As you can see, got those going in. This one I still got to shape up a little bit better. And for this, you know, more intricate part of it, I'm just using the Dremel, but I end up having to use the angle grinder just to take out the bulk because it was just, yeah, there was just too much to do with that little Dremel bit. So I got tired of using the little diamond ones. They were just taking out such small amounts. I ended up using a wood carving bit in my little Dremel, and that, I mean, it made a little bit more of a mess, as you can see, but that I was able to sculpt and cut out, I think, a lot better. And so now let's test fit this door, see if we can get it to shut. There we go. It doesn't got the latch mechanism there though yet, but yeah, it goes all the way, so that's good. Coaches past drilled these holes in the wrong spot, and that's probably why a lot of the issues with this door came to be. Because if you look, we'll get that lined up. If you're standing, it's lined up, but then if you get down there, it's completely off. It needs to be down there. So now that I've discovered that, I am going to use so these 2 little pieces were riveted together. I drilled out the rivets and made them 2 pieces and then oblonged out the bottom hole to make it fit. I think I lost a little bit of footage, but I wanted to make that clear. Those were 2, you know, they were connected. But in order to make it work, because that is in the wrong spot, I had to kind of oval those ones out a little bit to get them to work. And then I'm going to have to drill a hole up here where I marked. And that explains why on these old striker pins, see how they ground out a chunk of it? Because they installed the striker plate, the latch part, in the wrong spot, so they had to grind these to get it to shut. And that was one of the issues that we have, is these would get a little bit out of line, a little bit twisted, and then they'd go wham against the side of the house. Or, well, motorhome. It's our house, but you guys get what I say. Once I got that hole stretched out, then I was able to put it on here, screw it in, and I drilled through where I needed this one to be, and now I'm tapping it to the right size. So, busted out the little cutoff wheel for the Dremel, and got the little spot cut out for my deadbolt. So now a quick recap. This went in easily, but then we had to relieve for that. It's all put in and worked out pretty well. This has been a nightmare. Sticks out too much here because of this aluminum frame over the steel. So I had to grind that down and relieve that. My holes were in the wrong spots, so I had to oblong out the bottom one of this to get it down far enough. And then we drilled and tapped that. We trashed that. We clearance, we drilled, we tapped, we reinstalled. So now let's check it out, guys. Let's see how it shuts. It latched. And it's good. And it opens. Let's see from this side, guys. Working good. And we even got a little deadbolt. Alrighty, guys. Till next time, believe in what God gave you. Take on some new projects. Learn some new skills. Build something, fix something, create something. Guaranteed, by the end of the day, when you finish a project like this, you're going to be feeling better about yourself. You're going to have some self-worth, some self-esteem. You're going to have some new skills. You're going to know how to do the next project a little bit better. So till next time, keep building shit, guys. If you found this video at all helpful, give me a thumbs up. Give me a subscription, guys. Till next time, keep building shit.